relationships and we talk about love languages, let's talk about how love language could make or break a relationship and get someone to creep and go outside the relationship, if you know what I mean.
I think that's like a huge reason why people step outside of their relationships, like lack of being fulfilled. I mean, there are people that just cheat no matter what, like no matter no matter what you invest in the relationship, no matter what you present, because they're dealing with themselves or they haven't resolved something within themselves. But there's a lot of people who have partners that they don't feel fulfilled by. And that's really important. If a person is in a relationship with you, especially if you're communicating your love languages and you're telling a person how you receive love, how you see love, and they're not making a conscious effort to try to love you in a way that you can receive it, that can be very damaging and very destructive in a relationship. Unfortunately, if there are people out there that match those love languages or that like to issue out love in the languages in which you understand, that could definitely open up the door, to inviting somebody else into your relationship that's maybe filling a void, that your partner isn't really filling. And I think if people out there, if you're listening, if you have not communicated your feelings to your partner, what you need, things that are lacking in the relationship, things that they need to improve, give them the chance by communicating and expressing the things that you need. But I do understand when you've taken the time to actually properly communicate the way that you receive love and the way that you need to be loved, and then that partner is still not reciprocating love in the language where you can understand and receive it, that can definitely complicate a relationship and can definitely open up the door for cheating for those people who may not opt to leave a relationship and may be struggling, inside of the relationship. Not condoning cheating, just saying that I can definitely see how, that could be the catalyst as to how those doors start opening up in relationships where people are feeling unfulfilled. What are your thoughts about that? Like, have you ever, do you feel like that is a recipe for disaster? Have you ever been in a situation where you've been in a relationship and maybe you haven't been completely fulfilled in a situation like that, where you've communicated to your partner?
So I like your wording, of course, lack of fulfillment, because that's major. And, you get to a point to where if you're telling someone what you need, what you want, how you want to be loved, how many times do you have to keep repeating yourself if they're just not getting it? And what if you're with someone that you really care about and you have done all you can do, but you're still feeling that lack of fulfillment? Do you cheat? Do you stay with them and cheat? Do you leave? Because you don't ultimately want to leave that person, right? This is who you want to be with, but they're not loving you the way you feel that you want and deserve to be loved. So I know a lot of situations, have come up like that. Me, myself, lack of fulfillment wasn't a reason why I cheated. I'm not even gonna lie and try to put this on nobody. I'm not even gonna put this on nobody. Generally speaking, lack of fulfillment can cause a person to cheat, but it was never for me. And let me clear this up. I'll give some context, but let me clear this up. I have been cheated on. I have been a cheater before. So let me not just say I don't know both sides of it. But it's unfair, to cheat on your partner. It definitely is. It's not right. It's, I don't condone it at all, especially at my age now. I would be heartbroken for it to happen to me. And I would not do that to someone at all, because I know what it feels like on both sides. But like I said, lack of fulfillment was never the reason. It was more so just what I wanted to do. And, like we said, there are some people who just cheat, and I was one of those persons. I just might have been something I just wanted to do, and I felt like I could do what I wanted to do with who I wanted to do it with. Now that's not right. For our followers, that is not right. It's not okay to think like that. But that was the immature me. As a woman now, looking back on those choices, I'm like, girl, you was down bad. Like you were really just like hurting someone, and you would hate for someone to do that to you. So I had to grow out of that type of mentality where I can do what I want with whoever I want. That's not the case when you are in a relationship and you're in a monogamous relationship, not an open relationship. If it's just one on one, you owe your partner some loyalty. And if you feel that you need to cheat, then you don't need to be in a relationship. And that's just that. Um, Now, being the person, who did get cheated on, when I went to that side, oh man, my stomach hit the ground. And I was just like, my world is over. I'm in the bed eating ice cream, all these things, like big tub of ice cream just sitting there, just tears rolling down in my Jamocha almond fudge. Like it got to that point. So I think when I was on that side and I did, experience someone cheating on me, I think they felt a lack of fulfillment. And it was explained to me where they felt I was lacking. And they felt I was lacking, get this, in the like words of affirmation and quality time. Who, me? Like,
Wow.
so that was like a joke to me because I know you're not saying to me out of all people when everybody around me knows that I speak life into everyone around me any chance I get. So that was like a joke to me. So I just didn't even take that serious. And I'm like, no, you cheated because it was how I used to think that's what you wanted to do. But it's just so unfair. Um, when you think about situations like that though, it can get really really confusing, because you think about being in love, and sometimes, I say being in love is like having a virus. It can make you sick. Like it really can. It can make you sick. Being in love is such a beautiful thing, but it can also it can be the worst. Like really, it'll have you sick, losing weight,
Mm,
stressed out. Like I had a bald spot
the
from
sick
being in love
child.
one time. Man. So when you think about that, T, and you think about situations where, and this is generally speaking, people cheating or getting cheated on, how do you think people can move forward if someone was to cheat and they choose to stay with that person? They choose to give them a clean slate, forgive them, build the trust back. Do you think those relationships are possible in your opinion? Do you think maybe the other person feels like they need to get their lick back, or do you think it's possible to stay together and get past it?
Okay, so that's such a complex question.
Tell me about it. That's why I
I,
asked you.
right. I feel like you know, cheating is really complicated. And I'm not sure, like, there are so many different motivations for why people cheat. From, people who plan to cheat, people who get blindsided by cheat. I mean, there's just so many different perspectives when it comes to cheating, and even what people consider to be cheating, right? Which I'd like to get into in a minute too.
Let's talk about that.
So for a long time, I personally always felt that if cheating did not transcend to the physical, that for me it wasn't really considered to be cheating. Now I know that there's emotional cheating and I'm not negating that, but for me personally, I always felt like if cheating didn't move to something in the physical realm, you're not kissing this person, you're not, you know, having any kind of, physical intimacy with this person, you haven't had sex with this person, like it's not physical. For me, I never looked at that as cheating. Like, I always considered it to be like more so like maybe flirting or flirting outside of the boundaries of your partner, which we also have to talk about. But I never really looked at that as, stepping out on your partner. I mean, I've heard something as trivial as like you went out to the bar with your friends and like a guy bought you a drink at the bar and you had a conversation with him at the bar over this drink, and then he left and went his way, you went your way, and that was cheating. Like, for me, like, I feel like if it's not crossing the physical realm in any capacity, it might teeter the line with emotional cheating, which I don't have a preference for, but I do feel like there's a difference between experiencing that and actually, sharing something intimate or physical with somebody. And that was always where I drew the line. And I'm also not a first cheater. I've actually never, if we're talking about in the physical realm or the physical space, I've actually never cheated first. I've actually never done it. So I feel like, when it comes to that, I feel like each relationship partner has to define what they consider cheating. Like, you need to discuss with your partner, what do you consider cheating? This is what I consider cheating. And you need to establish boundaries within your relationship that both you and your partner are comfortable with, with adhering to. The other part of it, when it comes to leaving or staying, for me personally, I feel like the only way that I could look at cheating as being like even something you'd remotely consider moving forward through is like if maybe it only happened one time and there was like a really broken space in the relationship that caused you kind of like to step out of the love that you once felt. But it would be hard for me to take a partner back that like cheated, because I feel like what motivated you to cheat? I think that that's the one thing you have to look at. What's the motivation behind the reason that you cheated? Were you honest about it? Did you lie about it? Was it something that needed to be discovered, or was it something that you brought forward in the relationship and discussed yourself? Was there like some validity in why you went outside of the relationship? Or were you just being selfish or, consumed with your own wants or your own needs? Like, there's so many different layers that have to be considered. But I can say I'm not really the type of person that could be cheated on and then like still want to remain within the relationship. That would be like really difficult for me. What do you think? Like, are there justifications? Are there reasons we stay? Are there reasons we leave? Like, do you want to touch on that, at all?
I think there are many different layers to it, like you said. I've stayed in the relationship, after the betrayal, whatever you want to call it. Um, and the relationship, went on for a while. We had good times. Still kind of in the back of my head, some days I would think about it, but for the most part, things were fine. I think, like you said, I really think it's big to talk to your partner about what you consider cheating. Make sure, no one's thinking it's an open relationship, so things like that are important because you mentioned, being at the bar and a guy buying you drinks. One thing about me, baby, when I go to that bar, they buy me drinks. They buy me drinks. So if you think that's cheating, then I'm the biggest cheater because the drinks come all night once I pop out. So that right there, something like that, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. And I don't want to be with a man who thinks something's wrong with that because listen, honey, and not to even, toot my own horn really, but look at me when I go out, they're going to buy them drinks. And I do, speak and no, I'm sorry, I am in a relationship, but they still going to buy drinks. It just happens. Something as far as, sitting down, going to lunch with someone, really entertaining someone like on your phone, texting or, different things like that. I don't like things like that. I feel like that is cheating. Even though it's not physical, you're entertaining someone else knowing that you're in a relationship. And even though you're flirting, I don't like it because you're giving that person still some of your time and your attention. So
So
if I'm
emotional
lacking,
cheating.
that's emotional cheating, so I don't want to be emotionally cheated on or physically. But like I said, I've stayed after the physical. So I think it just depends on both parties, what they can handle. Can they truly forgive? Because no one is going to forget, but can you forgive? Can you move on? Can you build that trust back? Because, trust, once you lose it, that is one of the hardest things to get back, no matter what, no matter who it is. Trust is like, you can trust someone so quickly, but once it's gone, it's like, man, it'll take forever to get it back. So, like I said, I've stayed. It was rough. Um, I don't judge anyone who chooses to stay. I don't judge anyone who chooses to leave. But it depends on both parties. Um, Now, when it comes to, like we said, the emotional and the physical aspect of it, I don't know, friend. I kind of feel like I'm opposite of you on that, really. They're both just as bad to me. Like, cheating is cheating, and the emotional, to be quite honest, I'm really, as you know me, I'm an emotional person. Emotional is worse. I'd rather you went in and had sex with a person, because sometimes, how they say how men are, or even women sometimes, sex can just be sex. And maybe, like you said, you mentioned, it could have been at a time where the relationship was rocky, or where you guys were taking a break, or, anything like that. So the physical part, I don't know. I can't really say it hurt me more than like the emotional aspect of it, because I'm really nosy. So if you do, if I feel betrayed, I want to know what she looks like, what you guys talked about. Did you spend money on her? Like all these type of things, because don't tell me that you spent no money on her, because that's way, whoa, whoa. I would have to draw the line right there. Like, and you're spending now her and her friends got me in their group chat, and does she know about me? I have a lot of questions, and I just feel like the emotional aspect of it, it can really tear you up, because to me, words and actions, that's really important to me. um that the old saying, the sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That is not true when it comes to me. Like, emotional abuse is absolutely the worst to me. I rather, the physical aspect of things, I just feel like it's not, you can get over it. But the emotional aspect of it is really what can tear you down, because, it causes stress, and stress is a silent killer. So there are a lot of different situations, but like I said, I think it really depends on, both parties, and how they really address it in the beginning, like we said, what they consider cheating. Um, so actually, for our followers, you guys in the comments, let us know, what is worse, emotional or physical cheating? We want to know.
I'm going to say drop this in the comments too while you're at it. What do you consider cheating? Let us know. What are some of the things that you consider cheating? I'm curious about that. I think I don't know, like I on the basis of just some of the things that you're saying, I definitely think like I've probably been more guilty of emotional cheating than like the physical cheating. I always feel like I've never found myself in a situation where like I feel caught up, like I'm gonna go further than what I anticipated, or like when I'm looking back, like I thought I was only gonna do this, but it went further than I anticipated. I feel like I know myself really well, and I kind of like know like when things are gonna kind of go too far. So I never really push that line too much, but I definitely feel like I have like a really flirtatious personality, and I like am very free spirited, and I like to flirt with like random people, and like I just am not like, I don't take myself too seriously when it comes to flirting, because in my mind, I'm always like, I'm just paying compliments. And I think maybe because I'm a person who hasn't really received like a tremendous amount of words of affirmation, when I'm out, I like compliment people a lot. Like, do you know, I just like walk up to a random person and be like, oh, I love your outfit, or I like you have a nice smile, or you smell really good, or like, I think I do that to people a lot. And a lot of people can mistake that as flirting. And I do think that I'm a major flirt, but I also feel like it just is like making somebody feel good. Maybe they're in a relationship and they don't get told this all the time, or maybe they're single and they don't feel that confident about themselves. And I always just feel like if there's, I just recently complimented, me and my girl went out last week and I saw this guy and I was like, oh, you're so handsome and your skin looks really great and I love your beard. And like, I don't know, it's just a thing that I do. And so I never really view that as cheating, because I feel like I'm always going to walk away from that situation and just be like, oh, I hope it made that person feel good and keep it pushing. And I brought that up to somebody and their response was, why would you want to make another man feel good? So I don't know, friend. What do you think?
My view on that is, what is wrong with making another human being feel good about themselves when there's no malice behind it, no ill intent, no thought in your mind that, you want to pursue something with that person. It's okay to speak love and light into a person to make them feel better about themselves. We should all feel good about ourselves. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Now, would I want someone, just constantly trying to make my man feel good? Like, probably not, because that's, maybe that's my job. But, I don't care if someone compliments him. They should. I want them to compliment him. They should compliment me too. My partner likes that. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that personally.